Well, hopefully this is recording now. There. I'm going to just quickly test this. Trying sewing on a different network front end, so now I'll put a link down below where the raw network code for this sort of came from, so I'm just going to call it kind of the lobby. All I really ended up keeping was this interface and fixing it up a bit so it stayed centered, but anyhow. Let's pick a somewhat bright color. And I want to see a bunch of bots, so I'm going to put 12. What that'll do is it'll have 12 connections. Bots will make up the difference between the number of players and up to 12 connections. Yeah, so that's just the default port. Anyhow, I'm going to create the server, and as you can see, the load is quite quick. I'm just going to maximize that again. So you've seen this before, but I think you saw the one little bit there. I hope it's recording the audio. That background track is done by Jim, or Jimmo. Yeah, there's the old nebulas that we've seen, but more so, you should see there's a whole bunch of those tri-winged fighters whipping about. They're currently set to the bot mode, so their motion is incredibly stupid. There's no real logic to it except for they go a certain distance and then pick a new random destination and head towards that destination. I don't even have motion smoothing on them. All they have is random destination and a random speed range, and there's no smoothing on them. But it does make a field of other flying objects. Their collisions are enabled, but they're not moving under the physics that they could be. So they could actually be moving under the thruster and all that, but I just haven't gotten around to coding that much. I wanted to test the feasibility of networking. Just a little while ago I did a recording with a friend of mine down in Philly. He connected in and he was able to fly around. I might cut a piece of that recording out and show that. But for the most part here, things that have changed, well, there's a floodlight on the front of the fighter that actually works now. And yeah, these bots, they just randomly pick a color and spawn and pick a random destination. The thing is though, those bot positions are synced from the server, so in space where that bot is for me is where it would be for any other connected player. Their color and everything would be matched. And if you were silly enough to hit one, which of course I'm not going to be able to do just because that's something I'm trying to do. Oh, I did hit one, I think. If you hit one or they hit each other, you will bounce. Because they're being given absolute positions and they're not using the normal physics way of controlling their motion, like the big black rocks or the big dark rocks, they have kind of complete authority, so if you hit one, they're going to push you out of the way. I don't think I'm going to get to one to hit one. Ooh, we had a chance there with him. Oh, he's going a little too fast for me. Oh, maybe not. Huh. No, I'm not going to catch up to one. I should have upped my up to my maximum speed. But oh, awful close a couple times there. Hitting one. Oh, that's the original. That's the original just sitting there one. See, he's gonna fly away and roll off in space because he's not on rails, for lack of a better term. These other bots, they're on rails, and if you manage to get hit by one, Oh, I bounced off him. See, I'm the one who gets the spins, not the guy I hit, because they're being given exact positions and motions and whatnot. So yeah, anyhow, that's the update. The networking is in. There's a simple chat thing down here. Your chat history with the people you're playing with will build up in there. Again, that all comes from the other fellow's code. Forge. I apologize, I forgot where his code was. But I'll put a link. His original code, or the code that he first showed, is not really compatible with what I intended to do, but I kept some of his UI and just rebuilt it. Just rebuilt it from scratch and followed his tutorial and just bent it for my needs. I'm using regular old RPCs, or remote procedure calls. I'm not building any fancy packets or any of that stuff. I'm just using the remote procedural calls, and I'm using the built-in compression of the ENet. Oh, banged into him. Using the remote built-in compression of the ENet library that's in here, and lets me do things like trade bandwidth for more CPU use, or vice versa. A little more CPU use for less bandwidth use. And I think I've got some room to spare. Anyhow, I've just been zipping around. Oh, something, I don't know if you noticed here, but in this run, you can pick the albedo of the texture that your ship is going to have as a player. So anywhere there isn't too much actual color information in your texture on your ship, the color you pick for your albedo color will get applied to almost all the hull. See? I'm trying to get a spot here. Yeah, I don't have very good lighting here, but it should be like a yellowy green, if you remember from the picture. If the ship had a more neutral color to begin with, you would see that. If I left some completely white parts in the hull, you would see it better. And that might be something I do take into consideration when I make some new ships or do some retexturing of the existing ones. But yeah, everything in here is up except for the small asteroids. Small asteroids are going to be just like these bits of space debris right here that always face the camera. Yeah, the small asteroids are going to be like those bits of space debris. Yeah. And right now you kind of spinning around in a soup. Anyhow, maybe later I will get some video of more than one person connected. Yeah, anyhow, that's the update for this weekend, unless I get some... Oh, almost hit him. Unless I get some more done. Anyhow, if you stuck in this long, you're obviously interested in this kind of stuff, but if you like this kind of thing, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video. And thanks for watching.